Have you ever heard of a workflow designer? Chances are you probably haven't yet. It's a role that's only beginning to emerge right now. But over the next few years, it's going to become extremely important for any business that wants to leverage the latest technology and empower their team to get more done. Hi, I'm Tom from XRay.tech, the workflow company. At XRay, we help companies to design a better way to work with automation, AI, and the software they already use. In this video, I'm going to explain what a workflow designer is and why workflow design will become a critical discipline for every industry in the coming years. Let's get started. First, I want to talk about the circumstances that have built up to the rise of the workflow designer, the circumstances that many of you are dealing with right now. While you might not be familiar with any workflow designers yet, you're probably familiar with some operations managers who work in specific departments. For instance, sales operations, marketing operations, finance operations, or even no-code ops. These roles have emerged as talented people in each department switch their focus to helping others in their department determine the best way to get their work done. Operations managers help their team to establish consistent, reliable processes that achieve the results the business is looking for. But even with great operations managers, companies often continue to face the problem of siloed data. Each department will frequently struggle to get the data they need to truly make informed decisions, because many processes are not confined to a single department. For instance, simply engaging with a new lead will involve efforts from marketing, sales, finance, and maybe even your product team. In many cases, your finance ops manager can't always get the data they need from the other departments easily. A handoff between the sales team and finance department is a great example of how this specific price and package purchased might get lost in communication. And they won't always be able to share the data that they create with the rest of the team either. Most often, this data transfer defaults to messages, emails, and conversations between team members in different departments. Without a well-designed workflow in place, you're likely going to see lots of manual work in exporting and processing that data as it gets handed off from one department and their software to another department and their different software. A chief operations officer or general ops manager can try to create systems that bring together data from each department, but this can be difficult when every team is relying on different apps. The COO or ops manager may not be familiar with the apps from each department in the first place. They could potentially consult with IT or engineering, but we all know how overburdened tech teams usually are. Grabbing more of their time for internal operations tends not to be a great use of resources, and this is where a workflow designer comes in. A workflow designer designs and implements better ways to work using automation, AI, and no-code tools. They find ways to connect and improve the software your company is already using and find ways to streamline the way that your team works. A workflow designer's main responsibility is to optimize your time. Much of modern software development is focused on maximizing the amount of time that you spend in that app. To that end, popular SaaS tools have been introducing all sorts of add-ons and new features that go beyond the original core functionality of the app. For instance, this is why you've seen Zoom add email and calendar integration, while Google Calendar adds Hangouts to each meeting by default. The lines are getting blurrier and blurrier between application feature sets. Just consider how many different ways you and your team take notes. Nearly every app in the workplace wants to offer meetings and chat and notes and more so that you stay in their ecosystem from 9 to 5. Workflow designers are uniquely positioned to push back against all the apps that want to eat your time and attention. With no-code automation and AI software becoming more prevalent and more accessible every day, workflow designers now have the tools they need to build systems that connect every department in an organization. Using strategies like no-code automation, workflow designers can help you leverage the most useful pieces of each app while minimizing the amount of time that you have to spend in each one. In many cases, they can even design workflows that just require you to fill out a form or click a button, prompting an automation to move your data through every relevant app in the background. With less time devoted to menial tasks, you and your team can direct your attention to where it has the greatest impact, on creative, analytical, strategic, and thoughtful work. Well-designed workflows will improve the employee experience for everyone at the company. And with the consistency created by standardized and automated workflows, your team can be more confident in their work than ever. Perhaps most importantly of all, A workflow designer will enable you to spend more of your time on making key decisions and less time on the execution of your decisions. Fundamentally, a workflow designer is someone who increases your capacity to make decisions. You can only make so many decisions in a day because it takes time to gather data and implement your decisions. A workflow designer will analyze the way you're working now and find ways to get the right information faster. They'll also make sure the data you get is accurate and consistently formatted so you can actually trust your source of truth. With better data delivered to you in less time, you'll have more time every day to make critical decisions. But workflow design is not just about automation. Connecting tools together to automate tedious, repetitive work is a big part of implementing a workflow designer's insights, but it's certainly not the only approach. Ultimately, a key part of a workflow designer's job is to understand every facet of your company's processes. By understanding how work gets done now, they can uncover opportunities to improve your processes without getting rid of what works today. And critically, it's important not to skip the step of asking why you would build the automation and if you should build the automation in the first place. In many cases, you can optimize your workflow by simply reorganizing your data in Airtable, Notion, or whatever app you're using. In other cases, simply documenting a standard process to follow will help your team be more efficient. And with AI becoming more sophisticated and accessible every day, the best solution might be to just ask ChatGPT. A good workflow designer will never jump straight to building a complex automation when a simpler solution is a better fit. And even when a workflow designer decides to implement an automation, they can still ensure that your team retains critical oversight over the entire process, with the ability to confirm automated work at key moments. For instance, they might build a workflow that sends an automated response to an inbound lead. Instead of just sending that automated response right away, the workflow designer might ensure that your team can check the message first and edit it if needed. That way, you can be confident that you're always sending your leads contextually appropriate responses while still drastically reducing the amount of time that you have to spend drafting personalized responses for similar inquiries. Regardless of the specific strategies and systems they implement, a workflow designer understands that your most valuable resource is the people at your company. Their time and their attention are limited. Designing better workflows that save time and get more reliable results will let you get the most out of your team's time. This will enable you to scale your processes by removing the bottlenecks that limit your capacity. Workflow design is quickly emerging as an important discipline for any industry. But how can you start leveraging the benefits of workflow design today? To get started, you can always check out the other videos on our channel. We've published lots of tutorials and deep dives to help you think like a workflow designer and give you the tools and knowledge you need to optimize workflows for yourself and for your team. Our tutorials are often focused on the nuts and bolts of automation, but our upcoming workflow design course will take a more holistic approach to workflow design. We'll share our own strategies for analyzing a workflow, discovering the best opportunities for optimization, and implementing critical improvements. This won't just help you streamline your own day-to-day work, it will show you methods you can use to improve workflows for your entire team. If you and your team aren't looking to take on the additional responsibilities of being workflow designers yourselves, you can always reach out to XRay instead. Our workflow consultants will help you uncover areas to improve your workflows and build the automations, AI tools, and other resources that you need to streamline your processes. Just check out the link in the resources board below to schedule a 15-minute discovery meeting, or check out xray.tech to learn more about what we do. Far too often, we focus on slogging through the work, and we don't stop to reflect on how and why we do what we do. Workflow designers can help answer these questions and create more scalable processes and improve your employees' experience in your workplace. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more automation tips every single week. If you'd like to learn more about no-code and low-code automation, follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, and you can find all of our content on our website at xray.tech. You can check all those links in the resources board down below, and as always, don't forget, keep the flow.